Hey guys, it's Archie. I am at the National ADHD Foundation annual conference, which is taking place in Liverpool on today, which is the 16th of June 2023. So the theme for this year is called ADHD Neurodiversity, the New Paradigm. So I am in the big exhibition hall, as I always do on one of these conferences, and I'm just doing a walk around and interviewing, bringing on a few guests to speak to. So I am literally at the ADHD Foundation stand. I'm just waiting to have a quick word with one of their workers, Rachel, and I'll get her to introduce herself and ask a few questions about the foundation itself. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Archie, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for allowing some time to speak to us.
Thank you.
Would you like to just tell us about your role in ADHD Foundation?
Yeah, so I am the Senko for the ADHD Foundation. I love my job because I get to work with young people around their ADHD and other neurodiversities, but also looking at helping to support the family as well. Because as we know that when we're trying to support an individual who is neurodiverse, it's not just about them, it's about the support that they receive around them as well.
Of course, yeah. So it's supporting families and young people as well, as you said there. Yeah, okay. How long have you been part of this organisation?
So I've been here for just under 2 years. My background, I was a primary school teacher and Senko, and I was a primary school teacher for over 20 years. So lots of experience working with young people. But one of the reasons why I'm not a primary school teacher anymore is because I knew that for a child to be able to thrive in school, it was really important that they were fully supported, quite often around unmet need around undiagnosed neurodiversity.
Amazing work, and amazing work that ADHD Foundation do in general. Would you want to give us a summary of what some of the support that the foundation offers? Yeah,
so we have lots of parts. We offer lots of different parts to our service. So we work in schools through SLAs. We have a number of therapists that work locally with children and young people. We also have our own private pre-diagnostic assessment part to our service. We have we offer adult online therapeutic support around neurodiversity, and we also have quite a strong parenting strand to our service. And finally, we offer training nationally to schools and businesses around understanding and supporting neurodiversity.
Great, amazing work there. And also you also support employers understanding awareness of things like ADHD and autism, so neurodiversity as well, don't you?
Yes, we do. That's a strand to our service that we are looking to expand and reach out to other organisations, because we know I think recently there's been more recognition to supporting neurodiversities in the workplace and how positive that can be for the employer and the employee.
Yeah, and that's something that often comes up when I'm seeing my clients as well, the ones that have been diagnosed, whereby they don't know how their employer can support them, and the employer doesn't know what steps and things to put in place. So
yeah, definitely. And I think sometimes if we look about our experiences as adults in the past, we knew sometimes that people that we may be working with needed further support, but it wasn't maybe as supported or recognised in the workplace. And I think this is an amazing part of kind of our conference today, celebrating what neurodiverse people can bring to business.
Yeah. I'm just looking at that poster behind you that says ADHD friendly schools. Yes. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yes. So we have a really fantastic award called the ADHD Friendly School Award. I love it because it's kind of a community approach to celebrating the strengths of ADHD specifically within the school setting, getting all stakeholders on board. So there's a strand for parents, a strand for training in school around ADHD and other neurodiversities, and there's a pledge that involves providing fidget resources to all pupils regardless of whether they have a diagnosis or not. It's one of the many things that we are very proud of at the foundation, and we provide this award nationally, and we've provided awards in the south, up in Scotland. It's been really, really popular.
And I can tell. Like, there's so many things that you've covered there on the post. I can see that what you mentioned, that you got the training, regular sort of daily opportunities for the learners with ADHD to have like physical activities, opportunities for all the learners with ADHD to learn about self-calming strategies. That's the big one, particularly for children, as you know. Providing tactile resources. Do you kind of work with occupational therapists and other allied professionals at all?
So we do provide some support to healthcare professionals, and I think dependent on different local authorities, sometimes they reach out to us to provide training for their staff. I'm not too sure whether we have provided specific support to occupational therapists though, but we do provide lots of support around sensory sensitivities with individuals, and also wider looking like kind of at the physical environment of either classrooms or businesses as well.
And obviously you are based in Liverpool, but you are a national service, national charity.
Yes.
So do you have local charities at all, like based around the UK?
So we work with a number of charities around the country. One example, though, at the moment at a local level is that we are involved with a grant-funded project with another local charity called Positive Futures, and myself and another member of our team are working with Positive Futures, and a big part of that work is around supporting grandparents and carers with the children that they are in caring for, and also another big part of that is getting young people back into education. We're working quite closely with young people that haven't accessed education, quite often around the unmet need, around neurodiversity, and that's, that project has been going for a couple of months. It's a real strength. I know that we also have links with southern charities as well. We're working, we have a great project with one of our colleagues in Gloucestershire and Stroud around more understanding and supporting neurodiversity in that area.
I went to the ADHD Congress last month, actually, in Amsterdam. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And I interviewed the ADHD Europe.
Oh, wow.
They were there, and we sort of talked about your services from a UK perspective, because they kind of are the European sort of charity organisation, but they are linked in with yourself. So, yeah, do you want to... Or maybe not.
But I'm not too sure about that, but I do know we have very strong links with ADHD Ireland, and we've provided co-facilitated webinars to Ireland, especially around for parents and carers around supporting their neurodiverse children and young people.
Right. And lastly, if anyone out there wants to find out more about your services, would you want to tell us about your website and how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah. So our website is literally just adhdfoundation.org.uk. We have a great resources section of our website where all our resources are free to download. There's fantastic resources for parents and carers around understanding and supporting their child's ADHD. There's a great booklet for teenagers around understanding and supporting their ADHD, and one for children. Me and my colleagues use those booklets a lot on an individual basis with children and young people. We also have some great resources on the section for educationalists, and also for adults maybe who identify as neurodiverse. The resources on the resources available are great, and they are all free to download.
Amazing, great work. And obviously you're the guys that organise this conference, which happens on an annual basis.
It does. I'm not sure how long we've been going for. This is our second one since COVID. I personally used to attend these conferences in my old life as a primary school teacher in Senko, and it was one of the most useful events I went to in that academic year. I attended two, and so I'm really, really proud to be on the other side of it now, helping to produce this conference for so many people. We know that people have come from all over the country. There's people from all over the world here, and it's something to be really proud of, to celebrate neurodiversity, talking to like-minded people, being able to network and just hear some of those personal stories that, people have been through.
And one point to also mention is this conference is open to anyone, for patient organisations, for professionals, for parents as well, I'm assuming, or even adults that might want to know more about ADHD. Or
yes, so originally the event was for parents and educationalists. We've now extended that to business, health, the justice system, and yes, but we know that many parents still attend, but we do also appreciate that there is a cost to it, so we do appreciate anybody that can provide the time and and spend their money on attending our conference.
Absolutely. Rachel, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Nice.
So I'm just going to do my walk around. I'm not sure who else to speak to. So
Actually, I'll come and I'll introduce you to some people if you want.
That would be great. That would be amazing. I might just leave my equipment here, and as I... Oh yeah, that is mine. We are still live at the ADHD Foundation Neurodiversity Charity.
Okay, so...
Are we going over there?
Youth Council, sorry, down here.
Okay. Excuse the noise as we make our way to...
So this is our brand new youth council.
They're just having their lunch. Sorry guys to disturb.
So this is something we're really proud of. This has been developed this year and was launched around 2 months ago. So this is Stephen, one of my colleagues at the foundation. He's one of our therapists, and Stephen is very popular at the foundation because you don't just get Stephen, you get his beautiful therapeutic dog Cooper as well. So when Stephen comes into the office, unfortunately we don't say hi Steve, we go, oh Cooper, hi. Cooper is amazing. But I think it's a bit too hot for Cooper today. And this is Jay, one of our young ambassadors at the foundation. Jay is not based locally, but he is a massive part of our foundation. So I will pass you over to them. You've got...
Good thing we're not filming this. Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, it's nice to meet you.
Excellent.
After, do talk to Josh. Josh is over there.
Oh yeah. If you could just tell him to just hang around.
Of course,
yeah, that's right.
So he's our umbrella man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we got the umbrella project. We need to discuss that.
Sorry, I didn't.
Hi guys. I've got Stephen and Jay.
Hi, I'm Steve, and this is Jay.
I'm Jay, ambassador for the ADHD Foundation, National Neurodiversity Youth Council member, and public speaker and musician.
Excellent. Do you want to tell us about a bit more about what you guys do within ADHD Foundation?
Yeah. So this is the recently launched project, the National Neurodiversity Youth Council, #NNDYC. We've just literally launched in May to the public, but it's been something that's been going on since November. Myself, Jay, another ambassador, Jack, and another coordinator called Kerry Hunter. We all came together to form this group, liaising with different charities. So we've got 6 charities on board. We've got ourselves, the ADHD Foundation, Autistica, Dyspraxia Foundation, Dyscalculia Network, Tourette's Action, and Dyslexia Scotland. We all meet every month. We meet once a month with all the representatives for the staff at the charities, and then all the ambassadors meet every month as well. So we've got 20 young people between the ages of 16 and 24 with a variety of neurodiverse conditions and plenty of life experiences that they bring to share and what they want to affect change in.
Excellent. And so this is giving them a voice, really, pretty much giving the young people a voice. Yeah, so if I was to come to you, Jay, so you're obviously part of this community that Steve was just describing there. Do you want to tell us about, how you found the experience since you've been part of this?
Yeah, so basically I've got ADHD myself. Growing up wasn't easy, feeling misunderstood, getting in trouble at school, getting permanently kicked out of 2 schools, going to a pupil referral unit, getting in trouble with the law, selling drugs, smoking drugs, going to court, doing all the wrong things. And it was just because I wasn't understood, you know, and wasn't supported with my ADHD. I had to wait 5 years on the NHS waiting list for a diagnosis of ADHD. I eventually went private because I couldn't take anymore. You know, I'm really, really passionate about this, you know, giving young neurodivergent people a voice, a platform to make change and for other people to listen. You know, this youth council is for young people, by young people, and ultimately, you know, our voices have got to be heard in this.
Thanks for sharing your story, Jay, and for turning what your experience into positive as well, which is absolutely amazing. If anyone wants to find out more about your amazing work, how can they reach out to you guys?
So we're currently on Instagram. It's the what's our
National Neurodiversity Youth Council. It's NNDYC official, and also our email address. You can reach out to us at nnyc@adhdfoundation.org.uk.
Amazing. Are you, if there are any young people willing to participate and be involved in this project, are you? Is that something you're open to, like bringing other people on board?
Yeah, we've got a great group of young people at the minute. We're always looking to expand. You've got to be between 16 to 24, and also you've got to be a neurodivergent person with a diagnosis.
Excellent.
Yeah, so like Jay said, we are still looking to recruit new ambassadors. If people wanted to send us an email on that email that we said just before, and there's an application process. We've got lots of interest, so yeah, we'd be keen to hear from lots of people.
Yeah, exactly. I can see how fascinating this is for young people to bring them all in one room, and I'm sure they've come up with fascinating stories about, you know, some of their journeys, but I'm sure there's positivities within all of that as well from the stories that you've heard.
Yeah, there's so many positives. I mean, when we met in February at Liverpool Residential, where all the young people all came together, they all shared their lived experiences, and one of the things that we spoke about was small changes, big difference. Lots of people shared, you know, just a little smile of someone on the train, or, you know, just not being judged for something that they've done. People just being a bit more accepting. Those small things can make a big difference to someone.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, guys. I know I've interrupted your lunch, so I'll let you finish your lunch because I know we've got some entertainment coming up in a second.
That's absolutely fine.
Thanks for your time. Nice to meet you, Jay.
Thank you so much. You too.
Amazing. Right, we're gonna walk around and speak to other guests over the other side. Josh.
You want to do it now?
Hey, yeah. Are you free?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Where should we do it? Should we just
tell me?
Should we just stand? Should we go on the stage?
Yeah, no thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go in the corridor. We could go in one of the nooks.
Oh, we can go in one of the nooks.
There's a bit of sound there. Have you been?
Like no, I haven't actually.
Really cool.
Do you know? I wish people can see what I'm seeing. So they've got these boots. What are they called?
Nook.
Nook.
Okay.
Nook. Oh, okay. And double OK. So I'm just sitting in one of these nooks, or like a shed.
Can you tell? It's completely different. This.
It's so insulated as well. Just the sound.
Do you like it?
Do you know what?
You've got the headphones on, so you're in a.
I can click. It's blocked out all of that noise that I could hear over there. So.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah. And we got the charging points as well in here, and.
I've not been in one of these before, but as soon as I've come in, I'm quite excited to be here. Yeah.
What's the idea of having the nooks here?
So I believe that they donated 2 of these, so they were going to exhibit or something. I don't really know, but it's a sort of sensory area where people who have sensory difficulties maybe find things a bit too loud or there's a bit too much going on can come during the day and chill out for a bit.
Excellent. Do you know, even the room is packed right now, but certainly just being in here, the sound you can I don't know if our listeners can tell, but how the sound is just kind of quietened down compared to literally when I was doing the previous interview there. So yeah, really, really good idea.
It's an amazing thing for recording as well, so that's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to take some details down because we can do with one of these in my work actually. So anyway, coming to you, Josh, and just in terms of your work within ADHD Foundation, do you want to tell us about your role?
Okay, yeah. So my role at the ADHD Foundation Neurodiversity Charity, I coordinate the neurodiversity umbrella project. So we have large installations around the UK and further afield. We do mini installations in schools and in businesses, so it would be about 25 umbrellas to one of those, and maybe 100 to 200 in a larger one. And we've got increasing numbers of umbrella installations around the country. And my role is making sure they all happen and get delivered right.
For people that follow ADHD Foundation on social media, that they've seen you on your website as well, they've seen lots of these umbrellas. I've seen them myself, to be honest, but I've never really kind of understood exactly what they represented. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the idea behind you can't see it, but whenever I explain it, I do a little thing with my hands to represent an umbrella. But the idea behind the project is that neurodiversity is an umbrella term for all different minds. So that could be a person with ADHD, a person with autism, a person with dyslexia. Kind of a term that covers all of those conditions, covers all those different ways of thinking, and acknowledges the difficulties that people with those conditions have, but really celebrates the strengths that it brings as well.
Yeah, a really, really good idea, and they're very colourful as well, the umbrellas.
Yeah, they really look nice, and it's an arty thing as well as an opportunity to raise awareness. And we do sort of launch events underneath where young people can get involved, and maybe music groups will sing underneath. But yeah, a really good thing.
And how long have you been involved in this project?
So I started working at the foundation straight after leaving university, about 18 months ago it would be, or maybe a little longer. So coming into my nearly 2 years here at the foundation. But yeah, I kind of got a personal connection to it. I was diagnosed with ADHD about 4 years ago now at university, and that kind of brought me to the foundation.
Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, your personal journey of living with ADHD, and how's that been for you since you got the diagnosis?
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself and how I operate, and what works for me, and how to maintain, say, relationships, a lot of soft skills stuff, and about myself in terms of my temper. Got a bit of a temper, and managing to moderate that quite well. Medication as well, what that can do for you, and we always say pills don't mean skills, but it's often given me quite a good leg up to get to learn those skills that I want to have. So that could be organisation is something I struggle with quite a lot, and learning to organise my life and using external things like on the computer to help me with that.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you're giving back to try and help other people going through the struggles that you went through yourself as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. That was a big motivator, and also seeing what the foundation was doing as a whole. It helped that they were recruiting for a job that I felt I was a good fit for. But yeah, giving back, and there's often phone calls that we'll get from parents or from young people, and I can kind of relate to those stories, and it's nice to see people go from one point to another in a similar way to how I would have done, and feel that I've made a difference to their life, a positive difference to their life.
If people want to find out more about this, that particular umbrella project that we're talking about, where can they get more information?
So there's lots of information on our social media and on our website. It's also worth noting that we've got large installations this year in London, in Bromley, in Aberdeen, up in Scotland. There's a new one in Liverpool. So normally we do it on a place called Church Alley in Liverpool, but this year we're doing it at the Liverpool University campus, and that's going up in time for the graduation. So for if you happen to be graduating this year and getting your picture, make sure you have your picture done in front of the umbrellas. But yeah, mainly on our social media and on our website. And
it's good that you're going to have some in you mentioned Bromley. We're not sort of too far from Bromley, so for us, because we're in Surrey. Have you launched them anywhere else, kind of down south, more kind of around London?
So we had one in Bracknell, but sadly that's just come down. So we kind of stagger the launches to keep the momentum going. There is potentially one in Swansea, but that's to be confirmed. We've got to get a bit of planning permission type stuff. But Bromley would be for your listeners, would probably be the main one to go and look at. That launches on, I think, Tuesday, July the 25th. And it's going to be quite a different installation to others in that it's going to be lit up. And at night, we work with a company called City Dressing, who also do quite interesting things with lights. So that's going to be lit up at night, and there'll be a big launch of it in conjunction with a sports week kind of thing and well-being week that they're doing over there.
Right, yeah. Do you know, I might just pencil that in my diary because that would be worth being part of.
Well, maybe I'll see you there.
Maybe I'll see you there, Josh. I'm just conscious of time. I know we're going to have some entertainment in about 10 minutes' time, so I'm going to do another quick walk around. I'm sure I'll bump into you another time, Josh. So I might speak to your colleague again, because she's the one who's been kind of pointing me to the right people to speak to. So was there anything else you want to let our listeners know?
Stay safe, take care, learn about yourself. There is lots of resources on our website. There's a particular, for young adults, there's a resource called ADHD in Adults, which I think is excellent. I am biased, but there's lots to learn there, and just take care of yourselves.
And coming to this conference, there's so much to learn. The networking, connecting with other people, the speakers that we have here, the lineups, the breakout sort of sessions that we've had, all amazing. So thank you and your colleagues for putting this together.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Nice to talk to you, Josh. We are making our way back into Aaron.
You want to put him on the spot?
Okay. Aaron. Hello, Aaron.
Hi,
Good to meet you. I'm Archie.
nice to meet you.
I'm doing a podcast called the ADHD Care Podcast. So I've just been talking to Josh about the Umbrella Project.
Oh, nice.
leave
He's
you
a
to
good guy, Josh, isn't he? Yeah. Oh no.
in the nook. Yeah.
You can sit in the nook. Yeah. So we've got...
That's okay.
so it's Archie.
Archie, nice to meet you. Aaron.
Aaron, do you want to tell us about your role within ADHD Foundation, Aaron?
Yeah. So I am the education training director. So that's basically a fancy way of saying I do a lot of training for schools on neurodiversity. So go all around the country, training teachers on kind of how to look after neurodivergent pupils, I suppose.
That is a big one. So you work closely with Colin then?
Yes, yeah. So Colin's my boss. Colin's our training director, so he kind of oversees everything. Does a lot of our because we get a lot of inquiries for business now, so business training does a lot of that, and then I do most of the education stuff now.
Do you know what, that is a big topic. I work with schools. Certainly, you can still see that the awareness of ADHD is still lacking to some extent, particularly in some mainstream schools.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's quite. It's surprising sometimes how when I go in, there's so many schools doing amazing jobs, but sometimes you do get. I am quite surprised by the kind of lack of knowledge in a lot of people. I think also it just comes from because I was a former teacher myself, and I remember when I was doing my teacher training, I had like half an afternoon on anything to do with SEND, or I don't even think I got told what the term neurodiversity meant or anything like that. So I think a lot of it comes from that. And actually, when we're out in schools talking about neurodiversity and trying to get rid of some of the myths around ADHD and autism, actually you do see people start to kind of change their views on it a little bit, I suppose.
And the training itself, how's that been received?
Really well, yeah. We get loads of amazing feedback. We, obviously the last couple of years, we're starting to move more towards in person now because obviously with the pandemic and everything went online. People are starting to want more and more in person training, which is great because we get to have that kind of interaction with them. But people seem to love it. Seems to be a growing demand for it. And what's really interesting actually is the demand for business training now, and so many businesses actually getting in touch with us, saying, we've employed these two young people, they're neurodivergent, we want to know, they've got loads of potential, how can we support them? And that's what really seems to be growing as well, that demand.
So if there is a school out there or an SEN team that are thinking of reaching out to you and wanting to have some training done, I'm assuming you cover the whole country then, do you?
Yes, yeah. So we do. I was in London at a school last week. I was in Cardiff the week before. We do go all over the place. We do offer online training as well. But yeah, anywhere in the country, we will. We're more than happy. We do a lot of international schools as well, online and things like that. So yeah, anywhere you are, you can get in touch, and we can. I'm sure we can sort something out.
If you are able to give us a brief overview of what's covered in your training.
Yeah, so I'll give you the kind of most popular course that we get. So we cover neurodiversity as a whole. The most popular course we have is understanding and supporting ADHD. I think just with it being our name, the ADHD Foundation, lots of people get in touch around that. So we cover kind of what ADHD is, as well as what it isn't, and kind of look at some of the myths around it, and kind of can try and bust some of those myths, I suppose. We look at how it affects someone's executive functions, so their ability to plan and organise, etc., their emotional regulation, kind of communication differences, and then we look at kind of like the science behind an ADHD brain, like what's actually going on in terms of the dysregulation of dopamine, and then of course the main thing that most teachers and Senkos are after is all of the strategies then of what we can do to support. But I think we find actually the understanding coming first really helps, because when we know why we're doing something and why we're doing a strategy, I think it's more likely to have a positive effect.
Yeah, of course. I'm not sure what's going on. I can hear some sort of music in the back there, but just to sort of wind this down. So if just give us details in terms of the people want to reach out, where they can get you, find you.
So you can, if you go onto our website, ADHDfoundation.co.uk, or you can email me directly. It's aaron.hutchinson, it's aaron.hutchinson@adhdfoundation.org.uk. But if you visit our website, you'll find my email address on there, you'll find Colin's email address on there, our training director, and you can start a conversation with us, and we're more than happy to see what we can work out.
Excellent. Aaron, nice. Pleasure.
Meet you, mate. Cheers.
Excellent. I am at the QB Tech stand, still at the ADHD Foundation Neurodiversity Conference taking place in Liverpool today, June the 16th. So do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name's Penny Lazelle and I'm a clinical advisor at QB Tech.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Penny. Do you want to tell us a bit more about QB Tech?
Yeah, so QB Tech provides the only ADHD assessment tool that's cleared by the FDA, and it's for use in ADHD assessments and treatments and evaluation of ADHD in children, people from 6 to 60. So it's an objective test that measures the amount of ADHD symptomology, so activity, impulsivity and inattention, and it's measured against an age and sex matched norm group. So what we're doing is we're measuring like with like, so apples with apples rather than apples with pears.
And what information are we trying to get from that test?
So we get an objective measure of the amount of these activities. During an ADHD assessment, without that objective measure, clinicians can only gather information subjectively, and often there can be lots of discrepancies with this. So QB test brings in an objective view and gives us that objective information to match with the subjective information we've already got.
So to simplify, so we are looking at motor restlessness, focusing, and impulse control.
Correct, yeah.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to get to. And then, so you compare it with the norm, so normative group of young people, similar age, sex as well, females, males, and then you compare the results.
And not just young people. This is a test that's designed to be used for age ranges from 6 to 60. So it's inclusive of adults as well.
Excellent. And I know there's a recent paper that I think you gave it to me earlier. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the latest research?
So recently we've had the NICE, so the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, have done a MedTech innovation briefing around QB test, and the outcome has been very positive, and they are suggesting that this QB test is used for assessment by all clinicians for their assessments of ADHD. It came out of a big study that was done with the Academic Health and Science Network, which lasted for 3 years, which obviously a lot of evidence has been gathered at how this objective test is supportive alongside the subjective information for ADHD.
And certainly in the UK, I saw a presentation before, a slide that was on the screen in terms of the number of clinics that are using QB compared to 2015. I think you had only a few thousands. And 2022, I think the record number was like 70,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean our numbers are increasing daily. Our clinic numbers are increasing daily, and especially off the back of the NICE guidance. So our aim is to for every person being assessed for ADHD to actually have objective testing using QB test.
What are the benefits of using QB?
So it's first of all it's a simple test. It's non-invasive. It's quick. We also have QB check, which can be done remotely, and the evidence suggests that it reduces costs, it reduces clinician time, and actually gets a more accurate patient outcome. So patients actually can understand the condition a lot more and their diagnosis.
And certainly that objective testing, if you like to call it, with ADHD, because usually it's about rating scale traditionally, isn't it? And interview with the adult or parent or child. Certainly this all adds that objective element to it, which some patients, I'm assuming that they like to see visually as well.
Absolutely. So QB test will generate a visual report, which will actually can separate the three core symptoms of ADHD. So we can look at activity, impulsivity, and inattention separately, and we can see whether where a person is suffering from all three core symptoms or just one or two. So as well as actually possibly ruling in ADHD, we can objectively look at it and actually rule out ADHD, and that person may want to go down a bit different pathway. Perhaps that symptomology might be reflective of another condition, or anxiety, autistic spectrum condition. So there's a lot of other things that we can look at when we're looking at the evidence on the report.
Amazing. And you mentioned about QB Check, and I know some schools that I've come across, they have QB Check that they can use at their disposal when they have a child that they're kind of questioning whether to refer. So that's kind of how QB Check works, is it?
Originally it was designed for that, but actually the sensitivity and specificity of QB Check is very high still. So it is now being used as a clinical device to measure the ADHD symptoms, and because it can be used remotely, it makes QB test or QB Check makes the assessment or the objective assessment more accessible for many clients.
If people want to find out more about QB Tech, can you tell us your website, if you mind, and any social media pages that you have?
So if they want to access QB Tech, the website is www.qbtech.com.
Amazing. Nice to meet you guys. And so anyone who wants to find out about QB Tech and QB Test, you can visit their website. Good to see you guys. I'll come back and grab the brochure. We are doing a walk around at the ADHD Congress. Hey guys. Can I have one of you guys? Is that all right? Yeah? Amazing. So we are at the Talent stand?
Talent International, yeah.
Talent International. Do you want to tell us a bit more about what you do?
We are a tech recruitment business with a passion for neurodiversity, and then we also have a charity called Talent Rise, which is designed to get kids with barriers to employment into technology.
Great. And how does that transpire? So do you work with employers or?
Yeah, so we essentially work with the employers that we already use in the recruitment business, the tech recruitment business. We'll reach out to the employers there, and how can we help them get sort of kids maybe from places that wouldn't necessarily get into tech or wouldn't know about that sort of thing into these jobs, whether it's through work experience or whether it's through even just like show and tell, telling them about what their jobs are. And really starting to raise awareness and creating ambition. And then we also help make them job ready, so work with them on LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. And then the general business is your standard typical technology recruitment business where but what we're trying to do is widen the amount of people by looking at the access for more neurodiverse people.
Yeah. So for any young person who's neurodiverse, who might feel that they might benefit from your support, how do they go about sort of finding out more about you and maybe getting in touch with you?
Reach out to us at talentrise.co.uk or talentinternational.co.uk.
Yeah, certainly, yeah, because that talk that I've just been to today, just in there, was all about employment, neurodiversity, inclusion. Some employers not really fully understanding how they can support anyone with neurodiversity, and certainly young people. That bridge from leaving school, college to going into employment can be a big transition. So I'm sure you come across a lot of issues around transition, don't you?
Yeah, it's really scary for a lot of kids. So it's trying to help them understand the world of work and what they need to do to be more successful.
Great. So lastly, do you want to tell us your website again?
Talentinternational.co.uk or talentrise.co.uk.
And are you on any social media pages at all?
All the usual LinkedIn, Instagram, all the different bits, yeah.
Amazing, good. Nice to meet you guys. Take care. Right, do another quick walk around. Are you part of the ADHDers?
We are.
You're.
Don't have anything behind us.
Haven't got anything beyond.
Probably.
Who's the best person to speak to?
My English is. Hi. So.
Hi there, I'm Archie. Can I take your name?
Yair Goldblatt. I'm from Nuance Hearing.
Exactly.
And we have a product that lets you choose the direction you want to listen to and tune down everything that's coming from all other directions. It uses acoustic beamforming technology and has the best performing of this technology today, with 15 decibels gap between the direction you want to listen to and all other directions.
Right, okay, so I'm trying to visualize this, right? So let's say I'm trying to listen to music. Does that depend what environment you're in, or?
Actually, of course, it really depends on the acoustic settings you're in, but it's for listening to the teacher. It's when you
in the classroom setting
and tune down everything else. It really relieves the focus. So we hear 360, and the whole filtering is cognitive. So when filtering it already in the input, you just save some cognitive resources where you can use them for learning.
So it blocks out external distractions. So does the young person that we're referring to in this case, do they have to wear some sort of headset, or?
It's like a table microphone, advanced table microphone, connects to wired earphones. Unfortunately, wireless connection has a latency, so when trying to hear the reality around you via Bluetooth, it has like you feel the latency, and it's an echo effect. So we use like wired earphones, and we use it like our audiences are kids with attention challenges, sensory challenges, also communication challenges.
Amazing. So do you want to tell us your website?
Nuancehere.com.
And this is something more that you're using more and more with young people with neurodiverse needs, even children that have sensory processing issues as well, like that they struggle with, blocking out too much noise in like children with autism, for example, that they find some environments too sensory stimulating,
overwhelming.
Yeah.
So sometimes they wear like earplugs,
exactly,
or ear defenders. So this product lets them actually like a kind of selective listening. They can focus on the thing they really want to listen to and just tune down the distractions from all other directions. The relief sensation is quite immediate.
Amazing. Right, I'm going to do my own research into this when I go.
Try it.
I might come back and try. I'm just going to try and interview a few people. Yeah,
great. We'll wait for you. Thank you.
I'm not sure what was said there, but I think there's another countdown warning. Hey, here's a guy to speak to. All right, there's a beautiful queue here.
I'll give you a proper talk.
So we got Addy. Hi, Addy.
Hello, Addy. That's me. Sorry, hi.
I'm Archie.
Hi.
Archie, Miss Addy.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Is your name Addy, or I'm just...
No, Phil.
Phil, nice to meet you. So we're at the company called Addy. And do you want to tell us what Addy is?
Well, Addy is a productivity app for people with ADHD and any executive dysfunction challenge. We're new on the market, and we're here to help people get stuff done.
How does that work? Do you want to tell us a bit more about the app?
So... Colin's happy.
We've been told off by Colin.
Most productivity apps are either lists or calendars. What we do is basically task Tinder. It's a card system, one task at a time.
Right.
We'll prioritize the task for you, so you don't have to think about it.
Excellent. And this could be used by any age group?
Anybody can use the app, but it is built and designed for people with neurodivergent brains.
Right. Anyone who wants to find out more about Addy, do you want to tell us where they can find it?
Absolutely, addyapp.com, or you can download the app on the Play Store or on the iOS Store.
Great. Any research behind this?
Not yet, but we will be the font of all productivity knowledge. Give us a couple of years and we'll come back to you with some research.
I'll be watchfully watching this. Nice to meet you, Phil. Okay. I'm back in the Nuke pod. still at the ADHD conference. I'm not sure if I'm talking loud because I've got my headphones on, and you can hear this presentation going on behind me. I've got another special guest who is who's got his own podcast as well, I'm pleased to say. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, so my name is Dove Ross Williams. I'm a creative arts director, but I also run an online radio station called Colours, acronym, City of Liverpool Online Radio Station. Very clever, but it actually spells colours as well. Yeah, that's been running for about 10 years, and I cover a lot of events across the city like Africa Oye that I was telling you about tomorrow, which you're
gutted I'm missing that.
So yeah, but I just cover a lot of projects. I'm also ADHD as well, which I was saying to you, so I'm now just doing a PhD on the creative and performing arts and learning for neurodiverse people, young people.
Right. And so Colours, can you tell us some of the work that you do? I know you just sort of covered in brief there. Can you say a little bit more about what you actually do in the neurodiverse world?
Well, in the neurodiverse world, I'm about to launch, I think, maybe Liverpool or maybe even England's first neurodiverse weekend arts college. So the idea is to provide creative and performing arts for neurodiverse young people. And because of my youth and what I went through, being ADHD, but really aspiring through dance and singing and drama, I think there's a connection. I'm not saying it's only because neurotypical will do as well, but I'm just saying I think there's definitely a high connection of performing arts and a pathway for people that are neurodivergent. Mm-hmm. It helps them for learning, helps me understand maths and a variety of things, but through drama and acting. Yeah. And speech and learning through that way rather than English in school in an English environment.
I agree, yeah. It's certainly like with, young people particularly that have neurodiverse needs, they struggle, like sitting down in the classroom, having to pay attention for the whole school day. You tend to find they're very creative when it comes to sometimes drama and something that requires their creativity side of it to sort of come out, or even something that's more physical. Go on, you're about to say something.
No, because I think what you just mentioned, the thing about ADHD people who are attention deficit, we find it hard to sit down for more than maybe half an hour. And so if you think about a child going to a school environment and trying to sit for the whole day, when they do need to get up and get out, maybe be in the outdoors, learning with their hands and doing things, we do need to change, I think, the paradigm of changing the way we teach kids in a school setting. And it needs to be adaptable for different types of learning. And I think schools know that, but they're constrained. But it's time for change and allowing young people to learn in the variety of ways which they can.
Yeah, and that's some of the work that the ADHD Foundation is doing, like going into schools, like trying to raise awareness and training teachers on neurodiversity. So, because that's something that's not really included in the sort of teacher training. So, I can see the paradigm changing. That's the new word I've learned today that I'm going to take away with me. Coming on to your podcast, so tell us a little bit more about your podcast.
Well, my podcast, I've done just a variety of different ones depending on what's going on in the year. So like for my PhD, which is happening at the moment, I'll do a podcast with like Tony from the ADHD Foundation discussing what he thinks are the benefits of performing arts with ADHD. Tomorrow I'm at Africa Oye, interviewing and talking to a lot of African performers about African music, its importance in its culture, and even the points about making African music a much more integral within universities and accepted as a music genre in its own right and taught in universities like classical. So I do podcasts on things that I think are meaningful to the community and has an educational thing about it and an inspiring, changing the world podcast. That's what I think I'd like to do when I'm doing my thing. And I do vodcasts. So as you're like doing your vodcast, I'm videoing on the GoPro.
Oh right, okay.
So I do both. I do vodcasts and podcasts.
It is Archie and back for the ADHD Care podcast once again. I'm pleased to say I've got Amanda Kirby
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Amanda.
And you too.
Great conference that you've been part of and organised.
Yeah, it's been a great conference and great people, and we've had some wonderful conversations and communication, collaboration. It's been great. It's a real celebration. Lots of C's.
Yeah, exactly. So you are obviously part of the Do It profiler. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So what we realised is often we go down sort of diagnostic silos and we don't look at people overall. And a child in school might need different help and support to somebody's in university, somebody's in college, somebody's in the workplace. You might need different help and support, and we need to be thinking about people. So Profiler looks at how we can support the person, look at their strengths, that's really important, because that's really more important than anybody else, and then minimise challenges. And so Profiler allows you to do that and scale it, so you can screen and support 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, and provide them with support instantly, because no help is no help. And that's really important. So we're here to try and help people be their best self, and that's what we're trying to do.
So when you say support, what kind of tools and information do you have?
So when you've screened somebody, it presents a report which looks at their strengths and challenges, then provides them with practical guidance, ways to optimise their strengths and minimise their challenges, provides resources for them to be able to do a bit further. So if they're in college, it might be study skills help if they need, but not just study skills, because one person might need time management support, somebody might need organisation. So it's about the person. And if they're going into the workplace, it might be one person's nervous about interviews, somebody else is difficulty applying using a form. So it helps them with practical strategies, and that's what it's all about, and can link into local services.
Is this something that's used by teachers, parents?
So we have a parent version, a teacher version, we have a college version, a school version, a university version, an apprenticeship version.
Wow.
Yeah, an employer's version, prison version as well. So we're used in all the Scottish prisons and all the Welsh prisons and a few of the English prisons. We're being used, but the guidance is different because the context is different. People, where you are, where you live, what your needs are will be different. So we change that according to the context. And we signpost to things like local provision. So in Liverpool, we've got a great club which is doing boxing, and it would help kids with that. Then we can signpost to that as well. So we can actually contextualise it by area too.
Amazing. And this is something clinicians can use as well?
Yeah, it is. I'm a doctor. I haven't been struck off. I'm still medical.
Right, okay.
I'm a doctor. So clinicians can use it to help them as well.
So, and as a clinician myself as well, so how does this fit in? So obviously if I'm seeing someone with neurodiverse needs, and I need to assess, obviously we use questionnaires, rating scales, interviews and stuff, where does the Do It profiler fit in?
So upstream, somebody comes into a GP practice and says, I think I might be ADHD, autistic, and we know they're all co-occurring, right? So often we go, okay, we'll send you to an ADHD assessment. However, 25 to 40% of with ADHD will have DCD, or developmental coordination disorder as well. So you're looking at arms only and you're forgetting about the legs. So we start and go, okay, we look across the neurocognitive profile, start with there, look at where the challenges are, and then it helps the clinician to know, okay, well actually they're showing autistic traits and ADHD traits, but they have got some DCD traits, so let's give them some practical things because they've got difficulties tying shoelaces, getting dressed, give them the help, right? Sometimes it doesn't always mean getting a diagnosis, and we're being used for like waiting list initiatives, because a 3-year, 5-year waiting list for something, nothing is nothing. So this allows people up front to get the help and guidance, and it means that if you're a parent, you can go to school and say, look, I've got some support from me as a parent. I'm a parent of neurodivergent kids. So if I've got need help with my child's sleep, or maybe they've got difficulties with writing or joining in sports or focusing, they've got a report they can discuss then with the teacher, and that helps them to articulate it, and it gives it in a format which is easier for then the teacher to take up and to use.
So is it electronic? Is it a rating scale?
Web-based. We've got an algorithm. We've got weighted. We've screened hundreds of thousands of people. So there's a weighted algorithm that looks at where they've got the area of challenge. It'll show those traits. It's very clear this is not a diagnosis, because as a differential diagnosis, we do also ask about the person. So we might ask, have they had a head injury or been knocked unconscious, because ADHD and traumatic brain injury overlap.
Yeah.
So we ask background information like you would as a doctor.
Yeah.
So we're asking key questions to gather that information. So if the doctor's seeing them, they've got it all there. So it's saving you time for collating all of that information. And then we've got tracking tools. So if you are intervening and supporting somebody, you could do sleep ratings, behaviour ratings, and it can go out to the schools and go out to the parents. So you can send that, and then you can see it on your dashboard.
Wow. As you're talking there, I'm just thinking as a clinician, as I said, where would this fit in? Because certainly that's the missing piece of the puzzle. Like for us, because some of our children, some of them have complex needs, special language, occupational therapy needs, DCD, DAMP, you're familiar with that term as well, all of that. So you don't have to be an expert pediatrician to be able to tease out all of these things.
No, you don't. So I was a GP. I'm not struck off. I'm still a GP, but I don't practice as a GP anymore. And for many GPs, they haven't had training on developmental disorders, so they wouldn't know what to do and if you're looking at DCD, what the pattern of challenges are with fine motor, gross motor, and functionally, you might have to wait ages for an OT appointment. Well, that parent has got a child who can't use cutlery, can't tie their shoelaces, is having difficulty getting into bed at night. Give them practical advice. This is a do no harm approach, right? So it's very functional guidance as a stepping stone, and that can be, we call it psychoeducation. I think we should change that, because psycho is not a great term for lots of parents.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So functional practical support, and then if they're needing a diagnosis, then that's fine, let's diagnose, but look across the neurodevelopmental conditions and take a more person-centred approach.
Wow, okay, so it produces some recommendations at the end of it.
It's translatable as well, so if you've got patients in your practice that don't speak English, the system is translated into multiple languages, they can switch to it, and it's voiced, it's accessible, all the things are spoken. So we've really trying to think from, because I've got a neurodivergent family, and everybody's dyslexic, everything. So a lot of the parents might have challenges with reading information, processing information, so we're trying to make it as accessible as possible.
Anyone who's listened to this, who's fascinated by it and wants to find out more about it, do you want to tell us where they can find it?
Go to doitprofiler.com and you'll find information, and find me on LinkedIn. I do a weekly newsletter. I'm at Prof. Amanda Kirby.
Yeah, I've followed you for so many years, and certainly you've put out lots of useful information for us clinicians, for parents as well, and we've shared your, some of your resources as well.
Yes, I have, and I really tried to give as much away free as possible, because as a parent, I just think there's lots of people who are waiting out there and they're confused and not sure, and we should be trying to help very practically and functionally.
What gave you this idea to create this?
I'm a parent of a neurodivergent child. I was in general practice, and he was the second of my 3 children, and I was told he may have DCD, and I went, what's that? And so it's his fault. He's now got 2 children of his own, and one of my other children has got a neurodivergent child, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yep.
And so I was selfish, because I wanted to know what was going to happen during childhood, adolescence and adulthood, and I was told when my son was young, he'd grow out of it. That clearly is not true, so it's been a selfish journey.
How old is your son now?
He's 37.
How is he doing?
He's doing great. He's got 2 kids, 2 under 2. Luckily, we don't have nappies with pins anymore, because he's dyspraxic, so that's a safety issue. Yeah. So that's better. My other son's got a child who's got DLD, autism, and variety of an ADHD.
Right.
And help and support is helping him, so it doesn't stop.
And that word, that new change in the paradigm of ADHD and neurodiversity, that's something that I'm going to take away with me from this conference.
And we need to stop working in silos and talk to one another a little bit more, make a big difference to everybody.
Absolutely, and that someone was saying about, can you think of other people that you can think that should have been at this conference? I was thinking of so many people.
I know, so next year it should be 1,000 people, 5,000 people in a stadium. Let's
Absolutely.
make it even bigger and better.
You can book Anfield Stadium for that.
No.
Thank you guys, thank you Amanda.
Thanks.
It is quite warm in here, isn't it?
It's roasting, absolutely roasting today.
We've come literally towards the end of the conference, and I am at the Aspirational Futures through Inspirational Education.
It's the Witherslack group.
Oh, okay. Amazing. So do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us about your company?
Yeah, I'm Heather Morley. I'm the ADHD project manager. My role with the Slack is to support a number of young people with ADHD or who have needs that are neurodiverse as well as neurotypical. But basically, we run we are a specialist provider in the country. We have a number of schools and children's homes in the northeast, Lancashire, and in the south. we offer 52-week residential care or 38-week residential care. Our schools have integrated therapies on each site. We offer advice and support, and our ultimate aim is to ensure that each young person, no matter how young they start with us, leave us with prospects to look forward to, a career, a future, and learning the basics like social skills, things that they don't teach in school. Alongside therapy, it's about having a holistic approach to education. So the holistic approach is that we have young people that are in a children's home working closely with the children's home staff, but they're working closely with the education staff alongside therapy. So it's all about an internal team around a child approach, and without working together we're not going to achieve the best possible outcomes. So I'm a really big believer in with the Slack group, and I've seen the impact it has on young people and their futures. We track and monitor the progress of the young people after they leave us for 5 years, and there has been some phenomenal success stories. These are young people that had several placements before they come to with the Slack group, and actually now they're at university studying astro science and things that are well out of my league. So it's all about brighter futures and providing kind of the right skills to help young people cope later on in life.
I was just about to say, so this is basically alternative educational provision.
It is for children aged 5 to 19. Not all sites are aged 5 to 19, but we do have some sites that are aged 5 to 19, so it takes away that transition from primary school to high school to college. We have 16 to 19 centres which offer college courses, which are fully accredited college courses, and that could be in motor vehicle, construction, hairdressing. We have a land-based studies option. We've got a variety of music programmes and qualifications that are BTEC young people can work towards. So it's no different from college, it's just a different environment that we cater for. So we have smaller class sizes, so around 8 children per class, with a high level of support, and then alongside they have access to the therapist team on site.
And so the criteria for children to come through to your school, obviously apart from the age group that you talked about there, do they need to have, for example, like an EHCP in place?
So we usually have children, I'd say all children that are with the Slack do have an EHC or an education healthcare plan, but need is very much what we take into consideration when we're doing an assessment and we're looking at admissions. I was saying earlier to another gentleman that we would never offer a place unless we was 100% certain that we could meet the needs of a young person, and the simple reason is it's not fair to do that to them. We don't want the placement to break down. Once they're with us, we want them to stay with us until they're 19 or for as long as they possibly can. So we would never ever offer a place just based on what is said in the paperwork of an EHCP. We know that sometimes it can lack information, so it's our job to do an assessment, a whole assessment, where a young person will either come into the setting and we'll meet them, or we'll go out and do a home visit. The clinicians will meet them as well. We'll complete a series of assessment, and then we will all sit together as a team and determine if this is the right setting for a young person. If not, we will move them to somewhere or signpost them to where we think is the most appropriate for them. So it's all about having the child's best interests at heart, really.
Yeah, I can clearly see some young people that I've seen through my clinical work who would benefit from this, where, as you said, who might have struggled in mainstream education, but some of them, particularly the ones with behavioural issues, might end up going to a PRU, like people referral unit, which sometimes isn't really suited for their needs. People want to find out more about your amazing sort of company. Do you want to tell us your website and any kind of social media pages?
So it is withtheslackgroup.co.uk. You can contact us by phone to discuss admissions and referrals on 0800 304 7244. My name's Heather Morley. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Nice to meet you, Heather. Take care. Welcome to our podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm John Kelly. I co-run a company called Hanson Regan. We supply expertise into Europe to enable companies to transform their technology. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. And I'm here on the Open Flow stand, working with Carol Ann to enable her to help organisations to grow their teams to be more successful, to enable the people to be more cohesive, and that's pretty much a quest that we're all after. Yeah,
absolutely. So where does the neurodiversity element come into all of this?
It comes into it because we're on a quest to grow our business, so we're on a growth program. Carol Ann is a leadership coach to help people to grow, and I've been on a quest to grow out our business. We're 18 years old, and I've been trying to grow the business bigger. We're a small to medium-sized organisation. I'm a wonder inventor, and I wondered how come we weren't getting our business bigger than it was. And I've been wondering about the people around my table. And in the course of that work, we discovered neurodiversity in our team. And right now, I'm the one that's been diagnosed, and that's teaching us a lot about how we exist as a business and as a group of people.
Right. So, does your work obviously involve educating employers, raising awareness around neurodiversity?
In this space here with OpenFlow, it will come up because it's part of the components of how teams and individuals interact. It's such a major component because we are what we think. And actually, I met Carol Ann on a thinking partnership program because my people had said to me, John, you need to go sort yourself. And I thought, I wonder what I need to do there to support you guys and to sort myself. What does that mean? And I knew I talked quite fast and I talked a lot and I overpowered people in the team. And I thought, do you know what? This sounds like a good thing to go do. Think in partnership. I can back off a little bit. And there's 10 components, a wonderful program. That's where I met Carol Ann, and then one thing led to another. And she came and started to help us. So yeah, we are the results of everything we think. And if we can get the thinking out, harvest the thoughts of individuals, that's what it's about. And if we're talking over people and I'm ADHD, I'm bombing people out, that's not a good thing. So I'm actually stepping the creativity of my own business.
Right. Excellent. So if anyone wants to find out more about, we're talking about two companies here, so let's start with your one.
Well, my one is let's hold my one for the moment.
Okay, let's talk about Carol Ann.
And the reason you do we're talking about Carol Ann's is because Carol Ann is a professional, and OpenFlow is a professional organisation helping companies with the bafflement of people. Yeah, we're all baffled about each other in a group, and how do we improve that understanding so that we can all work more cohesively together. A lot of organisations, not a lot, but those that are toxic, which by toxicity I mean we're verbalising our differences to one another and we're knocking ourselves out. How do we change that so that we have better trust with everybody within the organisation, so then you can come and present yourself a lot better. So to get to know that, go on to openflow.com and reach out to us, and we'd be more than delighted to help people to understand the journey that we've been on over the last many number of years, learning and observing and finding a better way to exist. I mean, the theme of my speech today here at the conference was to imagine a really healthy workplace where you can come and work and be yourself and do something that you really enjoy and gives you energy. And that's the quest of OpenFlow. Through people, can I enjoy what I'm doing? Can I have a culture around me that's going to support and love me, and I can come in and be myself? And that's where that really interesting stuff's coming from.
It's about inclusivity.
It's about collaboration. Everybody wants to contribute. It is all about inclusivity, yeah. And the irony of it is, the people who want inclusivity the most inadvertently can cause exclusivity in their own behaviour.
Yeah.
And they don't know about it. And that's where education has to come in, and enlightenment, and doing a programme of work that includes, I'm saying now, if you're a director of an organisation, it's a must that you go get diagnosed so that you can understand your own preferences and how you like to operate, but other people around you can know that. It's very difficult to accommodate somebody if you don't know, it's difficult to articulate their needs. And somebody with a particular way of thinking may not themselves be able to, they'll know, but they won't be able to articulate it. And what's happening is people around them are trying to work the hell out why they need, what they need. And when we know that, it's so powerful. Yeah.
How's that been received by the companies you worked with?
Very well, really well, because we see people in huge pain. They're trying to do commercial things, they have financial targets, they have people targets, and they're emotionally knocked out. And so what happens is, rather than working out to your clients, the emotional pain within is well, it's taken away so much cognitive bandwidth.
Yeah.
The brain can only handle so much, and if it's dealing with my own emotional triggers because somebody else in the business has triggered me, well, then you're not concentrating about your core business, which is servicing your clients. You just can't. So that's what we're changing.
So how do you reach out to these, for example, directors of companies that we're describing here?
Well, by coming to conferences like this, by our social media, by running campaigns and saying that, look, are you working in a place for yourself that you're not coming to work absolutely joyous? And if you're settling for anything less, then you're selling yourself short, and there is a better world out there. And you can do that by a series of things to know yourself and know the people around you. And it just revolutionises everybody's life, to the extent that even in my own company, as a recipient of OpenFlow's services, I now have people saying to me, John, we're on the verge of great things. I did a GR8 in my notes for the speech. Right. So we know that this thing's working. Yeah, but it requires braveness of people to look inside and to dig deep and to overcome the stigmas that's they're creating for themselves, or that was created by society when they were young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. So we're stopping ourselves, and it's finding our own Harry the horse. And not being tied back. And ironically, in a lot of organisations there are people waiting to help, but sometimes people, they choose to stay in the hell. So there's a statement out there that says the gates of hell are wide open, we can walk out any time, but we choose. Well, actually, I would say that it's almost not a choice, because it's addictive. What we've learned in our early years is that it's addictive, and we keep doing the same stuff until a point where we get so much pain that we then reach a rock bottom. We go, hey, I've got to change. Yeah.
Clearly, I've seen this with companies, businesses where it starts off small. The director of that company is managing with maybe 1 or 2 employees, and then it starts to grow.
Yeah.
And those challenges start to show. And as you say, like, they can't articulate it. They're probably undiagnosed with some neurodiverse condition there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where you start to see the difficulties. But I think it's about being open to self-reflect. And would you say feedback from employees as well helps?
Oh God, yeah, because the irony of it is the more vulnerable we are as leaders, the more we can, and we've done this. You see these round tables here in this function room that we're here. I've actually brought a round table into my business, and to get people to sit around, to come down to a level where everybody can actually contribute.
Right.
And what we're trying to move away from is this hierarchical organisations where there's control at nodes within a business, to flatten that so that everybody can contribute.
Yeah.
Like, you've heard the quote that the novice can bring some value to the abbot.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to be.
Absolutely. Great speaking to you, John. I could talk to you for a long time, but
let me have your. Can't see your name.
Let me give you my business card. Probably easier. It's Archie.
Archie.
Yeah, Archie from ADHD Charity. Yeah, are you still around?
Yeah, we're
give me 2 minutes. I'm going to get the business card.
We're still on.
Wait, sorry, I'll edit the last bit.
Oh no, that's fine. Maybe that's quite a useful piece.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to get your name, Archie.
Do you want to say the website again?
Openflow.com. And then for technical expertise, it's hansonregan.com. And we supply predominantly into Europe, into large accounts, and we are world leaders.
Wow.
Thank you.
And just to point out, OpenFlow is OPNFLO.com.
Well, let me tell you where the OpenFlow came from. It's the idea that to achieve inclusiveness, to be able to achieve that inclusiveness where everybody flows in their work, we individuals have to be open. Yeah. We have to be open about our difficulties. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to encourage, is overcome the stigma, come out of the stigma, be open about, because the things that we're hiding are actually, they're sometimes so small, that we can help really easily.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to encourage. We close ourselves for something that's not significant. It's just that the 5-year-old is embarrassed about it, and it remains in our adult.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Absolutely. Nice to speak to you, John. Take care. See you then. So yeah, that was John from Open Floors. So happens to be my last guest at this amazing Neurodiversity Conference. So thanks guys for joining me, and until the next podcast, take care guys.